Kris, audio.
Yeah, it's being fixed now. Yeah.
It's not going through.
No, I'll sort it.
Did you see Piers Morgan?
Piers Morgan, yeah.
Walking off. What?
Yeah.
I mean, from hero to zero.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I mean, the guy was right. He expressed an opinion, didn't he?
How do you mean right?
In that he expressed an opinion, like we all do. Yeah? I mean, it's not the end of the world, is it? Why was it? Why was he a tosser? Why was he a tosser? No, I'd love to hear this, you know.
Colour of skin?
He didn't say anything about that.
Mental health.
He said nothing about colour. He said nothing about colour of skin.
God.
Nothing about colour of skin. Nothing about anything.
We've got a show in a minute.
I don't care. I'm just saying. He said nothing about colour of skin.
Wrong.
He was talking about mental health.
Yeah, I got it totally wrong. What a tosser.
Yeah, I'm done. I can't be. I'm done. This is it. I'm over.
Oh, Piers Morgan.
Yeah. What a baby.
What's that about, Kris? You best come back. Thank God it's not fucking live. To the Mancunian Candidates here on FabRadioInternational.com and YouTube. Thank you for joining us. As always, we've got a really busy week ahead. What am I talking about? A busy show to talk about. It's been a weird night this evening. A busy show. We are going
just to educate you, we're trying to reflect on what's happened last week. You know. Yeah. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have Joe from Queens joining us and hopefully a special guest as well from San Francisco. Right, where do we start? One place. Before we start though, I'm sick to death of hearing about the royal family.
Oh, you're not sick about hearing about the royal family. You're sick about hearing about ginger bollocks and Princess Sparkles. Yeah, that's who you're sick of hearing about because they're the only people that are causing problems this week. And let's have a look at even the fact that I hate with a passion Piers Morgan. He is a Katie Price, he is a Katie Hopkins, he is everything I hate about life, and this happened and I'm actually on side.
And I understand that you don't like Meghan Markle. You've made it so clear a number of times on this programme.
Even by the standards of a show in which confrontation is nothing new, this between two of its presenters this morning was extraordinary.
But yet you continue to trash her.
OK, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no.
Sorry. Do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can trash me, but not my own.
No.
See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't do this.
This is absolutely diabolical behaviour.
The clash followed Piers Morgan's angry on-air reaction yesterday to the interview the Duchess of Sussex had given to Oprah Winfrey. Morgan saying he didn't believe her.
This is a 2-hour trash-a-thon of our royal family, of the monarchy, of everything the Queen has worked so hard for.
So were you thinking of harming yourself? Were you having suicidal thoughts?
Yes, this was very, very clear.
The fact that she'd spoken about her mental health resulted in a huge backlash against the GMB presenter. The mental health charity Mind saying it was disappointed and concerned, and the watchdog Ofcom receiving 41,000 complaints. This evening, ITV issued a statement saying, following discussions with ITV, Piers Morgan has decided now is the time to leave Good Morning Britain. ITV has accepted this decision and has nothing further to add.
Right now, it's never been more important that as a nation we keep talking.
The incident will have been of particular concern to the network after its high-profile launch in 2019 of Britain Get Talking, a mental wellness campaign encouraging people to talk openly about their issues.
I can't comment on
what he should or shouldn't do. I think it's just a shame that he didn't think quickly enough to realise just how important it is for the thousands of people out there who are struggling with their mental health.
Piers Morgan was hired to co-host Good Morning Britain 6 years ago.
Piers Morgan is here for a few days? Or
No, I'm here permanently. It's your ultimate nightmare, I'm afraid.
His outspoken and often controversial views dividing opinion on screen and online. In the past week, the show has reported its highest ratings ever. But one former guest says now the presenter has overstepped the mark.
If you hire a Rottweiler for its ability to bite, you can't then be shocked when it actually bites.
When Morgan returned to the set this morning, shortly after he'd walked off, he attempted to explain his views on mental health.
Mental illness and suicide, these are clearly extremely serious things. They should be taken extremely seriously. And if somebody is feeling that way, they should get the treatment and the help that they need.
But the damage had clearly been done. This would be his last appearance on The Breakfast Show.
That's.
So there we have Piers, Mike's mate.
Not Mike's mate. I can't stand him. I can't stand anything he did. I can't stand his career at the Daily Mirror, Daily Mail, or the
Sun.
The Sun, whatever the fucking hell he did. I can't remember now. He has been around that long and been talking that much shit. That's untrue.
But
he is a
let's talk
Katie
about,
Hopkins of.
Let's talk about the head of state while we're at it.
Yeah.
My opinion is the Queen, after she retires, that should be it for monarchy.
Yeah,
that should be it. That's many reasons.
Yeah. Okay.
She's head of state for 16 countries.
Okay.
If you were Canadian, Australian, wouldn't it be better if the head of state was elected?
Do you know what?
Elected.
Do you know what?
Rather than
You
thrown
don't.
upon you. I'm not even talking about this country.
Damn well get it. And that's it. And I've been trying on
that's
this
why
show for a long time.
Barbados left.
I've been trying for a long time to get this through to you. You don't get it. I mean, at the end of the day, she is a public servant. She has represented our country in a neutral manner. No.
You don't get it. I'm saying when she's finished.
I don't.
She has been amazing.
Yeah.
She's been wonderful.
And there's nothing wrong with Charles.
She's
sorry,
been amazing.
There's nothing wrong with Prince Charles.
He's too old for it now.
No, he's not.
Of course he is.
No, he's not. He's been trained all his life for it. He's been trained all his life for it.
Exactly my point I'm bringing it up now is imagine if who would put, what country, what person would put a family...
You want to replace this.
A family, let me finish, a family in a situation of, from being born, every moment is filmed or captured in some way. Why would you want to put somebody through the shit that they've been through?
Here's the difference.
What?
You are looking at, over in America, all of the Republicans wanting to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. But they've got nothing to replace it. Nothing at all to replace it with. Nothing. Literally zero to replace it with. So they just don't quite like it, so they want to get rid of it. Yeah. Well, let me tell you, if you want to turn this country into a republic, have a look at what's going on across the pond. Have a look at what's going on in America. Have a look at some of these republics that have been that great. We have a parliamentary... Let me just finish this last little bit. We have a parliamentary democracy that's unique in the world. We have a parliament where you vote, and you can argue left, right and centre about gerrymandering, and we can work on that, and it is a problem. But you end up with a government and a prime minister that represents it. He puts a cabinet together and they go and see the Queen, and she doesn't interfere, but every now and again she says some shit. And I'll tell you right now, she does interfere, she does politics. Gives advice. That's her constitutional role. So don't attack the Queen for giving constitutional advice, because that's what she is paid to do. And you're going to spend the rest of this fucking telling me that she's being paid too much.
On that very point.
But that's her job.
Mike, be quiet for a moment. Let me on that very point, what you just said then, what happened when Boris took over the Parliament and said no.
Yeah, she had a massive row with him.
What happened? Did she, as head of state, say you can't do that? It's illegal.
And she was on the verge of doing
Did
that.
she?
Yeah.
No, but she didn't, did she?
She was
So
on
it's
the verge
pointless.
of doing it, and he backed off.
Absolutely
No. Well, then you
happened-
don't know your history, because you, if you're on the left, even remotely left of centre, right, one of the biggest bad guys in our lives is Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
And she is the only person in this country that brought her to heel and made her do the right thing. And this is the thing about the interview with Ginger Bollocks and Princess fucking Sparkle, where they were talking about racism.
But
then they left the bit about, someone was bothered about what colour skin our child would have, but they didn't say it. They didn't say who it was, so that you would think that it was either the Queen
loud as you
or that.
want.
No.
Shouting gets you nowhere.
No.
The reality is,
you've no facts.
We need to change.
You've no
it.
facts.
It's over with.
You've no facts.
It's over with.
You've no facts.
And to prove
at all.
one of the things that
well,
happens.
make it like America then.
One of the things that happens, and it's quite clear, is people like Mike, who's a socialist for some reason, and he's a royalist and all that of it. Bit strange that. However,
I'm supposed to just do the thing where momentum. I'm left wing, so I must be part of momentum. I must think Jeremy Corbyn's awesome. I must hate the Queen.
No.
Go fuck yourself.
No.
Seriously, go fuck yourself.
So
if that is my role, just because of what I say I believe in.
You're a United fan who goes to City games. So
you're a United fan that fucking loves.
Mike, you're distorting the ears.
You love the fact that people in London support your football team. Yeah, that's what happens.
I was misinformed. You are, but
I see him on the train going back down there after your matches.
Have you ever got a train?
Yeah, no.
Right. One of the things is
hell.
we've got a short clip which I'm going to show part of it, and then we'll fade off because the show's coming up very soon. One of the things we want to talk about is what Mike says, but they're bringing so much money, the royalty. They're bringing so much
I didn't
tourism.
say that, but
he said it before on Mancunian Candidates. Just go back in previous shows.
I have said it.
I took a few points here. The Buckingham Palace is 67th in the attractions of this country. It's not, Anyway,
so
Republica, I'll watch this video.
Hi everyone. Did you know that the Queen is frugal, that the royals have rarely been more transparent about how they spend their money? Did you know that they hardly cost us anything at all? Well, no, nor did I, but that's the impression you'll get from certain parts of the media. Now, every year the palace publishes its annual finances. They prepare their own report and the spin that goes with it, and too often the media simply repeat that spin word for word. So the headlines are about 60 pence per person, the return we get from tourism and royal property. And the problem is that is all wrong. The palace is being dishonest, misleading and less than transparent. So what does the monarchy really cost? Well, no one is quite sure. But our Royal Finance report published in 2017 put the figure at £345 million. When I spoke to David McClure, author of books on royal wealth and funding for our Abolish the Monarchy podcast, he was quite clear that he thought that our figure was in the right ballpark. So why is the official cost so much lower than more accurate estimates? Well, let's run through the figures. First, we include the official sovereign grant. In 2017, the latest figure was £79 million for the year. Today it's £82.4 million and rising. Then we add royal security, which has been estimated over the years to be somewhere around £103 million a year. Now that may be a bit low. There are at least 19 royal residences that need to be protected around the clock, whether the royals are there or not. Any royal visit to open a shopping centre or school will cost local and metropolitan police thousands of pounds. Also, any personal private journey will require police protection, including overtime for overnight stays. And of course, if a royal is overseas for more than a couple of weeks, the Metropolitan Police will be flying officers out there and back every fortnight. With Harry and Meghan now permanently resident in the US, that security bill would have gone up by a few thousand, or a few million, I should say, a year at least. It's worth adding that we don't owe the whole family round-the-clock security as well, so security should be provided on the basis of advice from the police. And it's been reported many times that the threat to the royals is very low, probably similar to the threat to any regular celebrity, and less than the threat to any reasonably prominent MP. If Princess Eugenie or Princess Alexandra want extra security, they can always pay for it themselves. The Queen, of course, needs security, as any head of state would, but the Queen could also do plenty to reduce that bill, certainly by reducing the number of homes that she has. Anyway, so far we have...
And we've just had to fade the video because Joe from
Because you were losing and he was pathetic and he had bad teeth.
You can go on therepublic.org and you'll find out more information.
You'll find out a lot of lies on there. It's a great site. If you want fantasy and illusion, republic.org and bad teeth.
Hopefully joining us right now by the magic of Kris over there is Joe in Queens. Joe, are you there?
Hello.
Joe, good to
I'm
hear
wonderful. How are you?
We're good. We're very good. First of all, before we start politics, how's New York?
Yeah, New York is fantastic. We're coming back.
You're coming back. How do you mean? Explain that, coming back?
So there's been some great advancements in vaccine distribution, which has led to an increase in people getting vaccinated.
Yeah, great stuff.
Which I'm sure has helped in lowering the test positivity rates throughout the state and especially in New York City. So as a result, we're now seeing some of the restrictions lifted. We're going to allow for indoor dining to increase to 50% capacity starting on Monday, just in time for the holiday week, which it's, St. Patrick's Day is coming up, which is a big deal in New York. And in general, things are going in the right direction. There's going to be some outdoor concerts this summer. It looks like Broadway and indoor venues will be allowed to open in the fall. We've got some virtual streaming events being locked into our indoor venues, so there's a lot of activity happening.
And bars and pubs, what's the situation of going into them? When does that to open up a bit more rather than restaurants?
So at the moment, the restrictions require pubs to serve food if they're going to be open.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to stand at the bar or drink at the bar. You have to sit at a table.
Yeah.
You have to check in, take your temperature, sit down, have a meal. And it's been I believe it's been at 33% capacity for the past few weeks. So that's being increased to 50%. We still have a lot of our outdoor dining areas set up, which is very nice. And as the weather gets better, of course, those will be more in use as well.
So what do you feel about Texas and that governor he's one of the biggest bellends on this planet. I mean, Greg Abbott he is a tosser on a level that I don't come across very often. I mean, he just went, 10th, we're opening everything. No restrictions, nothing. And the figures that I've got are that 10% of Texans have had the vaccine. What do you feel about that?
Well, first off, I would like to separate this question into two parts. How I feel about Texas is very different from how I feel about the governor of Texas.
Fill your boots and let us know. We want
because
to know
Texas
this stuff.
is... Yeah, I mean, look, Texas is a beautiful state. Mm-hmm. It's a fantastic place physically. There's some really great sights to see and some wonderful people in Texas. Unfortunately, the governor represents a part of Texas which I am uninterested in and want nothing to do with, as I'm sure he would want nothing to do with me. And for him to ignore the scientists and to ignore the medical professionals who are sacrificing their lives to battle this pandemic in his state is just disgraceful. He needs to do a better job of protecting his people by listening to those who are actually in the know.
Making the news over here, and I'm sure it is over there, is the whole royal family issue. I presume you know all about it, Joe, because of the Oprah Winfrey show. But I mean, what's your view on it?
I'm sorry that got broken up and
It's
I
okay.
wasn't able to hear your question.
It's the question is about the royal family, which I'm sure has made the news over there as much as it has over here. I should like to know your view on the royal family.
I apologize. It appears we're having a technical difficulty.
Okay, can you hear me now, Joe? Can you hear me now? Loud, loud, loud. No, no, no. We're breaking up, I think. No. Shall we do some mime to get it? Can you hear us now, Joe? No, I think we've lost Joe. I think he's gone. He's gone.
We might have to
He's
go.
gone. His throat's on the screen. We'll try and get him back in a moment. But your thoughts on what he said about Texas?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I know what he's going to say about the royal family, and he's going to see me in a negative light.
Well,
and I can't help that. I mean, I think the Queen is an exceptional public servant, and I've always fought a
But
corner,
we're
and
not
I've always
denying
done
this.
that.
But
I know,
we're not
well, that's the
denying
point,
this.
and I'm not talking about... all I know is the situation we've got with a parliamentary democracy here.
We'll actually talk about New York at the moment, Mike.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
The
saying that
opening up of New
over there,
Yeah.
there's nothing better. Well, no, but you're saying that. You want to separate him, then don't ask him questions
Well,
about
we've
the
not-
Queen, then,
well,
don't you?
we've
Do
not
you?
asked him the question
Hey?
yet, have we?
Oh, you did. You tried.
We tried, but he didn't hear it.
You
also.
failed. His
So the
earpiece
question
blew
was
up.
about New York and how it's opening up. So to me, if New York is at this stage, it looks like it will be all go in America. But
Well, you
right in
haven't
the
got
summer.
any figures, though, have you?
I
You've
don't think
got
it matters
to wait.
in America. Does it?
It
really?
matters everywhere, man. I mean, you've got two
Like in
weeks,
Texas.
3 weeks, and then you're going to get figures. And if it's exploding out of control and the hospitals are screwed, then you're going to have to rethink stuff. Now, we've gone back to school this week in the UK. So we've got the kids back at school.
Yep.
So, well, COVID's gone. It's okay. So, brilliant. No more caregivers, no more babysitters, nothing else. We can all go back to work. It'll all go back to normal. But will it? We don't know. We don't know that. And I think it's silly for people to just assume that they're right this time, because every single time that Boris Johnson has put us in lockdown and brought us out, every single time he's brought us out early, and it's caused a horrific loss of life.
It has. Any news on joking back, Kris? No, it's not looking that way. So we want to talk about what another big news this week is the NHS.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at this video and then let's fill in the background.
Whatever it needs, whatever it costs, we stand behind our NHS.
The NHS has saved my life, no question. It's hard to find words to express my debt.
You are the front line in this war against this virus, and we all pay tribute to you.
Pay tribute, but not prepared to pay more than 1%. There's anger right across the NHS today, especially among families who've lost relatives on the front line. Amita Ruplal worked on a respiratory ward in Birmingham. She died in January. Her sister, who also works for the NHS, says the government must do more.
Amita paid the ultimate price, which was her life. And I think it's a real insult because the nurses that are working there now are putting themselves at risk. And I just feel like it's rubbing salt in the wound, really.
Good afternoon, Health Secretary. There are still 12,000 people being treated for COVID in hospital. How hard did you fight for a more generous pay offer for those who are looking after them? And how hard are you prepared to continue to fight for those NHS workers?
Well, Libby, as you know, I am a huge admirer of all those who've worked in the NHS during this pandemic and done so much. And I'm very pleased that the NHS staff have been carved out of the pay freeze. We do have issues of the affordability because of the consequences of the pandemic on the public finances.
The cost of the 1% pay rise is estimated to be £500 million. It's a fraction of the £400 billion pledged so far in response to the COVID pandemic, of which £37 billion is being spent on test and trace and more than £50 billion on the furlough scheme. The Royal College of Nursing has set up a strike fund with this hard-hitting poster. But it's not just NHS staff who say the government's misjudged the mood. Tory MPs, including one former minister, are worried too.
This is economically illiterate as a policy, because it's going to push staff who need to be rewarded at a time when they've been working really hard away from the NHS, and we need to have a very quick rethink, because both on a moral and an economic level the NHS needs to be supported at this time, and the staff need to receive a proper pay settlement and pay increase.
This nursing union official says many are prepared to swap the front line for the picket line.
Anger leads to passion, and passion leads to action, and I feel like there is going to be a lot of action in the weeks to come.
Whether or not that gives ministers pause for thought remains to be seen.
Yeah. Well, there you go. What can you say other than, yeah, they are getting a 1% pay rise. So here we go. Let's break this down. I'm not going to bring politics into this. I'm just talking about common sense. You have all spent the last year doing these intermittent campaigns where you'll be clapping the NHS to say thank you very much. Well, you know what? Those claps, yeah, they'd rather have a pay rise. I hate to break it to you, but they'd rather have a pay rise so they can pay the bills, so that when this world comes back to normal, and it will, later this year or early next, there'll be a point where you just are out with your mates in a pub, you're having a drink, you're doing whatever in a restaurant, or you're somewhere doing something, and you will go, wow, yeah, maybe in Satan's Hollow in Manchester, or Fab Cafe on Portland Street in Manchester, not a plug in any way. You will then go, oh, do you remember the hardship now? Oh, it seems so far away now. Yeah, these guys got you there. These guys got you over the hurdle. They got you to the final furlough. They did all that. You were doing these, oh, clap the NHS. No, fuck off with your claps. Fuck your claps. Unless you want to bring in an exchange where we can exchange claps for money, you know. 10,000 claps equals $5 or something.
Just to add to this, just so how sickening it is, I think, is the people who say, oh, it's all a hoax and all this of it, say, the NHS, as nurses, were just doing the job. End of story.
Yeah, I know. Well, they're the worst of us, these guys. The guys that attack the NHS and go, the places are half empty, they're just making it up and all that. Well, they can go fuck themselves as well. So while we're on this chain, you can probably tell I've started doing this show tonight, and I'm in a pretty bad mood. So I thought, right, let's just shoot everybody down, you know, let's take care of all these problems that we've got. But this about the NHS would be bad under normal circumstances. However, here's the problem that I've got. We are dealing with this week, and at the moment there is an investigation into Boris Johnson and his fiancée Carrie Symonds, and the fact that they want to spend £150,000 of the taxpayer money on doing up the flat above 11 Downing Street where they live. Now, the worst part of this is that £50,000 of that is earmarked for wallpaper that is gold-plated. Pardon?
Gold leaf.
Gold leaf, sorry. Yeah, gold leafed, yeah. So you have got a situation where in 1 week, this government that you all think is a considerate, compassionate, conservative government, wants to give the NHS a 1% pay rise and would equally like gold-leafed wallpaper.
And that sums the government up for me. It sums them up. The charlatans and blah, blah, blah. The backhanders that's gone on, hopefully next year there will be some sort of proper investigation into what has gone on. I mean, we use the hashtag Circoland going on our Twitter account, which reminds me, please tell your friends and join Twitter if you would, M_candidates, and tell other people to subscribe to this channel. It'd be wonderful if you did. We'll have some graphics flying up in the next few weeks. But the point is, it's a corrupt government. And you look back on the history of every Tory government, by the end of the government, there are always corruption to a level which they just couldn't handle anymore. Now, I'm shocked at how corrupt this is already.
Where are
we going, Mike?
No, they started out corrupt, and they're amping it up and amping it up. I mean, when you are a leader, there are certain things that should be keeping you awake at night, and those things are the welfare of the people under your control, command. You know, the citizens of the United Kingdom their welfare should be keeping Boris Johnson awake at night, because that's what a good leader does. A good leader cares about everybody under him. He wants to look after them. That's the whole point. So let's just say that I'm wrong and you shouldn't have a left-wing situation. It should be right. It should be conservative, and I'm wrong. Well, fine. Well, their version of this is that you should be a compassionate conservative that's been educated above the means of normal people and wants to share that education for the benefit of all. That is literally the definition of being a Disraeli one nation conservative. Yeah. And he is trying to pretend he's that, and he's not. He's after getting gold leaf wallpaper on his flat so he can fuck his missus.
We've got some comments on our little...
You certainly have.
Yes.
Yep. Geeky Sci-Fi TV saying, I was proud to have the Queen after the Manchester bomb a couple of years back. Theresa May was a disgrace. She was, actually. She was horrendous. The Queen spent time with the victims and was genuinely upset. She's a respectable figurehead. Mark is saying...
Can I just say that Geeky Sci-Fi, it's nothing to do with the Queen. I support the Queen. I think it's an amazing job. I'm talking about monarchy going forward.
Yeah, there are some other decent people in that monarchy, but we'll deal with this as the weeks go on. Mark is saying it's not over. The kids went back, and I think up to 6 schools in Manchester have issues with kids having to isolate already. Wow. We've still got a long way to go, so don't get too excited just yet. Mark, I seriously know this is going to go tits up. I'm just going along with it. I totally get it. And we're going to have a lot of bad news over the next few weeks. Believe me, this was 2 months too early just to get some popular opinion behind a failing government, and that's it. And I've got to say, if Keir Starmer was doing a better job in Labour and Labour were doing better, things would be a lot better as well.
Labour were behind Keir Starmer, that would be better.
Well, that would be wonderful if they would, nice. But you can't help these fucking pricks for momentum, but there's another story. And Mark's also saying 1%, welcome to the world of public sector pay rises. We've been stuck on 1% for 10 plus years. This is the norm. I'm sorry. You know, it just sucks. Like, it really, really sucks. And Eddie's saying the Tories started a pay freeze in 2010, and public service workers have had minimal rises since then. It has to be said that the Tories do not value our public services whatsoever, and Mark's saying that as well.
Yeah,
and I agree. They are demons. I'm sorry, I know it's a big word, that, but they don't give 2 fucks about anybody. They don't care, and everybody pussyfoots around this, and it needs to be said.
Let's move on.
Okay. Well, let's move on to something even worse, right? There has been a lady go missing, and it looks like we've got some sort of a resolution for this, but I got my lawyer sort of hat on and have been following it, and if you were ever going to go to uni and do a course, doing a law course, it does equip you for lots of other jobs no matter what you do, and you can dissect stuff, and we'll get into that in a bit. But they've been looking for Sarah Everard this week, and straight away I knew that this was something very, very familiar.
Martin, as you're speaking, we've just had an update from the Metropolitan Police. Let me read it to you. A man arrested in connection with the disappearance of Sarah Everard remains in custody at a London police station. The man, who is aged in his 40s, was arrested on the evening of Tuesday, the 9th of March, on suspicion of kidnap. Today, Wednesday, the 10th of March, he has been further arrested on suspicion of murder and a separate allegation of indecent exposure. The man is a serving Metropolitan Police officer in the Parliamentary and Diplomatic Protection Command. His primary role was uniformed patrol duties of diplomatic premises. A woman who is aged in her 30s was also arrested on the evening of 9th of March on suspicion of assisting an offender. She remains in custody. Officers are searching locations in London and Kent, including a property in Deal and an area of woodland near Ashford. Following the arrest of the police officer, the Metropolitan Police has made a referral to the Independent Office for Police Conduct. So that is the very worst of news, Martin, then, that a man has now been arrested on suspicion of murder.
Yes. Now, I should say, I suppose at the start, it doesn't necessarily mean that police have found a body as part of this investigation. We don't know that yet, and they certainly haven't said that as part of that statement. But they clearly believe that this officer has murdered Sarah Everard, and that really is the worst news that her family had been expecting. I was told earlier that murder squad detectives were on their way to this site here. But again, I guess we need to hear definitively from Scotland Yard about the status of this investigation. But yes, for Sarah's family, the news that this officer has been further arrested on suspicion of her murder is the grimmest news.
Yeah, let's just remind viewers of that breaking news in the last few minutes. The Metropolitan Police have said that the serving Metropolitan Police officer who was arrested last night on suspicion of kidnap has been further arrested today on suspicion of murder and a separate allegation of indecent exposure. The man is aged in his 40s and is a serving Metropolitan Police officer in the Parliamentary and Diplomatic Protection Command. His primary role was uniformed patrol duties of diplomatic premises. And as Martin was telling us, the search continuing there at an area of woodland in Ashford, at a property in Deal, and locations in London as well.
Tragic.
Yeah, I mean, this is nothing new.
That video was from last night, wasn't it?
It was, and things have been updated since then. They found human remains. So I think the best way of describing this is when you do law or you get involved in that universe, there's certain language used, and unfortunately, once that veil is lifted, you know what's going on. And when I say this, when somebody is missing and they arrest someone and then they find either a body or remains within a day or two, you know that they've coughed and they've said, yeah, I did do it, I'm sorry, she's buried here. And that's how they found her. So I would put money on the fact that this guy they've got in custody is the guy that did it, and he has told them where she was. Here's the massive problem. He's a copper. Now, I grew up, and you'll remember this, Paul, I grew up, when I was growing up, the Yorkshire Ripper was running rampant during the 70s and 80s. Yeah. And I remember going to school in the late 70s, early 80s, and we in Greater Manchester, which nearby, there'd been one of his murders and one of his victims. So literally the whole of the north of England, there was a campaign of terror that descended on women, and ladies were not walking home on their own. They were literally organising groups of them to walk home and stuff. I remember walking through the streets when I was a young guy, and during this era, I didn't see a female on the street whatsoever. It was only guys. That was the extent of this terror. And then here I am now in 2021, and the advice given to the police during the last 2 days before they caught the guy was, don't leave your home. Now, you would never give that advice to a guy. It's all women who are suffering this, and I've got to say, I can't believe that after all this time that it's still this. You've still got this. How shocked would any of us have been if they'd have arrested the person responsible for this the other night and it had been a woman, you would have literally fell off your chair when you heard that news, because you never hear that. It is always one of us, a guy, a bloke. We're still doing this.
The other week there's it's actually two rapes here in Manchester as well. And talked about, and the question here about is, it's not safe for women to go home on their own, and you said it quite clearly. Who's at fault? Men. Not all men.
No, enough.
Not all men, but it's certainly enough
to make it happen.
Yeah. And as a male, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed to be.
I don't get it.
I was talking to someone before the show, and she said to me, "Well, surely men should tell other men is it sort of like being touchy or feely or a bit weird and all the rest of it." But I never saw that. I didn't. So to me, it was a solo thing. I may be wrong on that, but I never saw that. There's a guy who was arrested and lost his job in Coronation Street who did something and banned the wall.
Yeah, well, that doesn't narrow it down. That.
No, I don't want to. He's a major character in
yeah.
Coronation Street, literally a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Literally.
No, I get that. Yeah, I know who that was.
And again, he went out with his mates, but he was caught on his own, sort of fiddling around.
Well, think
who
they can
calls
get
it
away with
wars? Who calls it's always men?
They think they can get away with it. I mean, my company that you're part of, the growth of that company, all the people in charge were all women, and the company was so good and was so well run, and there is no need for discrimination on them grounds, and there's no need for this to be going on still.
But what's your advice now then, Mike? You own and run certain clubs across Manchester and other places.
No, you say them. I've got Satan's Hollow, and over the last couple of years, maybe 4 or 5 years, we have been asked for our CCTV because of its proximity that it covers Portland Street and Princess Street, and we've been asked for it more times than you would believe. We have been privy to investigations where they're looking for certain people, and it's the same story. Guys looking at women, taking them somewhere and raping them because they're pissed. And that's the problem. And this is, and sometimes they're not. They don't even have to be pissed for guys to try that. And it's just astounding to me that we can get from where I was describing with the Yorkshire Ripper to now. If you said to me, in 20 or 30 years' time, is this going to have improved? I would have said, of course it will, of course it will. No, it hasn't. I mean, it's still going on.
Let's look at it. Is it the fault of not enough police on the streets?
Yes, that's a massive part of this. And that's what the Tories have done. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to just throw everything onto them like, oh, they've got to answer for this. The Tories have reduced our police force on the street by 20 to 40,000 officers over the last 10 to 15 years. They've been slowly reducing it. You can walk in any major city in the UK from one end to the other and not see a copper. When I was young, you couldn't walk from one end of Stockport to another without seeing a policeman on the beat. There are no policemen on the streets anymore. None. Zero.
What about the breakdown of the family base, really, I suppose you'd call it? I mean, certain people who go down this road, there's mental health issues involved on some guys I know who have been caught of rape, and they should have been in a prison or in a hospital or whatever.
Yeah.
So the justice system, where people who have been found guilty of rape are released, and they may rape or kill.
I get it. I mean, it's complex, and I agree it's complicated.
What can we do? I mean, it's a situation where I'm ashamed to be a bloke because of what's happened. And I bring back this thing: it's men who cause wars.
Well, I think this is going to get worse. I think when you feel that you hear the details of this, because I was talking earlier about language that you learn when you're doing courses and doing stuff. And can I just tell you now, when someone says they've found a body, they've just found a body. It's a body. It's been strangled. It's been shot. It's been stabbed. Whatever. It's just there. The parents can go to the mortuary or the funeral directors, and they can kiss them on the forehead and say goodbye, and it's still them. It's not them, but it's enough like them that it feels like closure. When you hear somebody say, human remains have been found, there's a hacksaw and a blowtorch and a bit of burning involved. There's going to be no kiss on the forehead. There's going to be nothing. There's just going to be bones and fragments and stuff. What has happened here, if I'm right, is absolutely horrendous. And it's, again, guys, and can I say one particular detail of this, which is awful, is that it looks like they found this police officer because of a dash cam. So if you're worried about your your rights of surveillance and you don't want all these cameras everywhere, this dash cam on a bus looks like it got the license plate of that car that she was being harassed going into. Now, we don't know whether she got in the car and took a lift off him or whether he dragged her in the car, because he was a big guy. He could have easily done that, no problem. But here's the thing. It looks like he used his warrant card to get her in, and that is a leak from the police station. That is a police officer that's told one of the newspapers that that's what he's admitted, this guy. So you're hearing this first, and I'm telling you now, it's disgraceful. He'll have pulled up next to her and gone, "Oh, you look tired. Oh, can I give you a lift home? I don't know you. I'm a police officer. Here's my warrant card." You can't trust anyone when it gets to that point, can you?
Again, though, Mike, I mean, it's no labelling over what may have happened or may not have happened.
It looks likely to have happened.
But the big picture is, going forward, what can you do as a club owner? What can men do in general? And what can we do as a society to make things safer?
Criticise the people around you when they're behaving in an inappropriate manner. If you see somebody being an absolute creep with women, tell them. If you see the other way round, if you know, it's a complicated world we live in. You know, it could be an older guy trying to get off with some younger guy. It could be somebody in the workplace trying to use their power and their position to get an advantage they wouldn't normally have. But you've got to start stepping up now, because this is ridiculous that I'm having this conversation at my age now, after living through all the Yorkshire Ripper stuff and all the rest of it, and here we are again, and this time is a fucking police officer that looks like he's literally used his job to do this. I might be wrong. Now, he's in hospital now. Did you know that?
No.
Right, well, he's had a head injury in custody. So somebody's, you know... I'm not saying that's right.
It's food for thought.
But that's the bit that doesn't bother me about the story.
It's food for thought as guys, as a race, as just a community. Yeah. You know, caring for each other rather than, you know, living in society. Yeah. Do we need all the police? Obviously we do.
Can I just say, Mark has commented on something here. Now, weirdly, I do another show with Kris, who's the producer of this show now. He's off camera. He's the guy you can hear laughing when it's all going wrong. We do a Starburst radio show for the magazine that me and him are editors on, and we've been talking about the canal pusher, and earlier on we misnamed him the Yorkshire Dipper at some point, and the Mark saying, what about the canal pusher? That was all young males. It's not always females who do those. A man, a woman, just pissed off accidents, you know. However, if I ever have a drink with you, Mark, I'll tell you who I think he is, because I actually genuinely think I know who that guy is. I think I've met him. I think I know who he is, and I'll say no more.
It's conspiracy, isn't it?
No.
Saying that no such thing has happened. It's all
even Kris thinks it's him and all. I think.
We're down a strange world.
I know we are, but I'm just saying bad things are going on. No, I agree, but mostly, Mark, the problem is, yes, that will be a case of a guy drowning a guy, if that is what's going on, and the rest. But if you went through all the cases that are on the records of serial killers, rapists, abductees, whatever, the majority is in the high 90% that it's a guy doing this to a woman.
It's always about power.
Yeah,
always about power.
It is.
So whether it's a big guy against another guy,
certainly is,
or a big or not to be big, but a powerful female against another female, it's always about power.
It is, yeah.
And because of physical strength in general, which got generalising, it tends to be blokes all the time. But Eddie's brought up a point as well. The police have sold many of the police stations, and as a result, they don't have the accommodation for police in the local community.
Yeah, it's true.
Right, we're going to move on a bit. But we really want to push this one. We're not here next week. I don't think we are anyway. We're on a short break and we're back the following week. However, that doesn't stop people from joining us on Twitter or subscribing.
And who knows, we might do some other video.
We might do something else. Who knows?
We'll find out.
But hopefully, if you subscribe, you'll know.
Yeah.
But we want to finish on this, don't we, Mike?
Yeah, we'll end up on something more of a funny note, although it's not that funny. Lauren Boebert, a Republican who we've shown her doing a gun video. I'm going to carry the Glock. She loves talking about her Glock, you know. She wants to bring guns into Congress. She wants guns everywhere. She's just an absolute fucking lunatic. She's one of the loonies that were behind the riot. While the riot was going on in Congress, she was tweeting the locations of her and other members of the Republican Party who were not voting Trump's way. She was tweeting them and telling them all where they were. So she has now put out another video, and I think we'll say goodbye and let you watch her what her problem is. And when Ronald Reagan went tear down this wall, she decided to do something similar.
The mayor.
Oh yeah, can we deal with him?
Yeah, let's deal with him before that.
Let's do that. Right. Can we bang his picture up? This is Sean. He wants to be mayor of London, and he is a Tory, and he, during this investigation today, has tweeted out that it's a wonderful opportunity for, you know, getting behind the police, blah blah blah, but basically did a political advert for his campaign for mayor, saying that if you elect me, this sort of shit will not happen. He's a scumbag.
Absolute scumbag.
He is that big a scumbag that he actually asked for help from Downing Street today, and they went, "Yeah, you're kind of on your own, mate. Sorry." So there you go. Yeah. No.
But let's finish on a happy note, like I say.
Yeah.
You described our friend over in what state is she from?
Oh God, I can never remember.
It's one of them states. So
yeah.
You know the state.
You know the state. Yeah. And she's got a bar like me, but unlike me, she allows them to walk around with firearms on their belts.
We'll see you very soon.
I'm Lauren Boebert, a mom, a small business owner, a defender of freedom. Here's what I know. You protect what you love. President Trump built a big, beautiful wall because he loves America, and he wanted to secure our country and protect us from drugs, illegal aliens pouring into our communities, and sex traffickers. Democrats, they fought him every step of the way. And now, welcome to Fort Pelosi, where Democrats decry walls from within their own heavily guarded razor wire wall. Democrats don't want to protect you because they don't care about you, but they'll spare no expense protecting themselves. We will not build a wall.
No, there will not be another foot of wall constructed in my administration.
I'm not for a wall. I'm not for a wall.
It's time to cut the crap and remember, this is the people's house. Madam Speaker, tear down this wall.